The ugly truth about electric vehicles that they don't want you to know, it's here. And let me tell you folks, it's really eye-popping. But first, let's just try to figure out one important question about EVs. Why aren't more people buying them up like pancakes?
There are larger economic challenges. Interest rates are up, and so borrowing money is a lot more expensive. Inflation has reduced purchasing power, and supply chains are disrupted. The inflexible nature of the EV supply chain is pressuring OEMs to make EVs despite consumer pullbacks. Then there are the pressures of meeting government mandates.
Think of the lens of the manufacturer, where it typically takes a cycle time of upwards of 7 or 8 years from inception to showroom floor and wheels rolling, right? So that's a big ship to turn. And when back to the mandates, the regulatory pressures, when you have to meet those, it's not like you can just throw a switch and convert from combustion to electric.
There is a specific pricing challenge with EVs. They tend to be more expensive than their gasoline counterparts. That may explain why the luxury category hasn't slowed down as much as EVs have. A luxury mid-size electric crossover, say, will often have a higher transaction price or even a higher sticker price than a comparable fuel-burning one in the same class. The average transaction price for a vehicle in the US was about $48,000 in September 2023. The average transaction price for an EV was somewhere between $53,000 and nearly $60,000, depending on whose data you use.
But of course, it's one small step in saving the planet from climate change, right? But what is it going to cost? Now, before I get any further, I want you to think of a number, an amount actually. How much do you think EVs actually cost when it comes to the gallon? I mean, comparing it to gas and diesel powered cars. And while you guys are thinking about that number, make sure you smash the like button. Y'all know that this information is crucial for everybody here in our country, and it'll definitely open up a lot of eyes when it comes to this technology. Also, subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications so that you don't miss out on any of these daily updates. Appreciate the love, you guys. Now, let's talk about that number, okay? This research comes from a nonprofit think tank called Texas Public Policy Foundation, and according to them, the true cost of fueling up an EV would be equal to at least $17.33 per gallon of gasoline. Wow, there's an entire calculation as to how this actually got to this conclusion, but I mean, like, just looking at it at face value, this is absolutely staggering. How would you like to pay at least 18 bucks a gallon, huh? But let's see how they got here, because who knows if they're just out to get EVs out the market, right? So it starts off by saying that people that advocate for EVs talk about how low maintenance that these vehicles are and how fuel costs throughout the lifespan of the vehicle will actually eventually make it even cheaper compared to gas or even diesel powered cars. Now, sure, EV owners may not be paying out $17.33 per gallon, but this affects all of us, as we all know that we're going to be taxed when it comes to creating charging stations and basically build the infrastructure that's going to support this entire project. I mean, like, who's going to fund all that, right? Now, luckily, this study not only shows how much an EV owner will pay up, but it also shows how all of us are going to end up paying up. Remember that the federal government has been providing tax credits and other subsidies for these vehicles in hopes of, attracting a few Americans to go all in on electric vehicles. But what do these costs entail? Well, take a look at this. It's color coordinated, so I'm already apologizing to anybody in the community who may have some trouble with that, but let's go ahead and go down the line on this one. It's cut into different costs, some that will be lifted by taxpayers, by utility ratepayers, and costs to Americans who prefer to buy gasoline vehicles. Now, I want you to look at the amount at the left. It's almost $9,000, and it's for tax credits that are provided both at the federal and state level together with rebates. So who's getting billed for that amount over the next decade? That's the real question. Taxpayers. Sounds amazing, right? You don't even need to buy an EV for it to cost you something, am I right? And if you got an EV, it shows that we're all going to pay almost $49,000 more because of everything else that comes with it. You see, this is what they don't want you to see. That 50 grand or almost 50 grand, all of us are going to be chipping in to afford these subsidies. Everyone's going to be involved when it comes to keeping these credits flowing. But again, we're doing this for the environment, to fight against climate change and all that, right? Well, were they aware that some grids are powered by coal? I mean, I'm not sure if they understand that concept, but I doubt that coal is really in when it comes to green energy. 21, China, the world's biggest electric car maker, has so many of these coal-powered plants that it's estimated that adding 1 million EVs in Shanghai would kill almost 3 times as many people due to pollution compared to adding 1 million more gas-powered cars. And like, That is a mind-numbing number to say the least. But hey, that was in 2021. They've most probably made strides with their infrastructure by now, right? Well, not exactly. I think it was April 2023 when they admitted that to meet rising electricity demands, China's only option for the time being was to expand their coal-fired power, either that or to prepare for power shortages. Now, I wish I was making all this up, but in theory, having an electric car, it sounds awesome. In theory, kind of like how you have a smartphone right now, and all you need to do to keep it running daily is to plug it in for a few hours each day, right? But that's not how it works. It's not as convenient as we're being told. Like, the entire thing has been romanticized to a point where we think that EVs will save the future when we can clearly see that it's kind of doing the exact opposite. However, and I guess I called it right when I said that not many Americans will be able to afford these things. A recent survey has shown that only 10% of new car buyers went out and got an EV. Is this surprising to you guys? Now, here's something that isn't surprising. If we as taxpayers don't support this movement, and if we actually had a say in what could or could not be built with our money, then don't expect these cars and trucks to be anywhere near as flexible as the cars that we own right now.
If the nation doesn't match the EV boom with a comparable boom in grid infrastructure build-out, Shumafan says that drivers can expect charging difficulties. That could look like long queues or only being able to charge at certain times and places. And an overly strained grid will be more vulnerable to extreme weather events and prone to blackouts.
And there you have it, folks, the ugly truth. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that EVs will eventually be the cheaper option down the road? Or will gas and diesel cars, trucks, vans continue to rule our roads? Make sure you guys let me know down in the comments down below. And before I go, I want to thank you guys for being here. Please keep safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.